What is going on, everybody? ZyoniK here, and in today's video, we're going to try Heracross for the Halloween Cup. It has access to Rock Blast, Close Combat, Megahorn as well if you guys want to use that. But it's, I think, a spicy pick for this cup. It has some good coverages on the meta with all those dark types or maybe some of those steel types. And then the Rock Blast as well is very good against like Alolan Ninetales, Golbat, stuff like that. We also have my favorite, the GOAT Alolan Marowak, Hex, Fire Blast, Shadow Bone, and Shadow Skunk Tank there with Poison Jab, Flamethrower, and Crunch. So, hope you guys enjoy today's video and this team. Let's get right into it. Alright, getting into the first battle here. We have Heracross on the lead versus Alolan Ninetales. I gotta see if this is Charm, which it is, so I'm just gonna swap out right away into the Skunk Tank and get ahead on energy. Now, they're deciding to stay in and they swap late into a Jellicent right here. So obviously Skunk Tank is going to do an incredible amount of damage with Crunch, and they let it go through. This is perfect. I'm counting the hexes. That is 4. That is 4. This is a Bubble Beam. There is no way it's an Ice... It was an Ice Beam. I counted 4 bubbles right there, but that is unfortunate. We're going to go ahead and farm down with Heracross. Switch Clock as well is not back up, which means this Alolan Ninetales is going to hit us with Charm, and it is going to hurt. So let's see if we can get to that Rock Blast in time, which we can. This is going to be forcing a shield from our opponent, and as long as there's no extremely hard counter in the back, maybe like an Umbreon, we are looking pretty good. So we do get the shield. We're going to swap straight into the GOAT right here, get ahead on energy, and again, as you guys can see, I am rocking with Hex, Fire Blast, and Shadow Bone. Also decided to no shield right there, as it wasn't going to do too much damage, the Weather Ball, right, because of our typing, and we do see a Shadow Mawile come in. So things are looking really good. Shadow Bone's here, going to do some great damage in this matchup. I will shield the power-up punch right there, just because I don't want to take any extra damage. As you guys are going to see, I'm going to load up a bit right here on energy before they can get to another one. So we're just going to go ahead, load up a bit more, and now we'll throw the Shadow Bone. This is going to be taking out the Mawile, and we'll have energy to throw the next charge move here versus Alolan Ninetales to close it out. So the GOAT cleaning up very nicely for us. Kind of bumpy mid-game right there. I definitely thought it was Bubble Beam just based on the bubbles that I counted, but maybe they got one in when I threw the charge move and I just visually didn't see it. But we have Heracross now versus Sableye on the lead. Alright, so an interesting matchup right here. I've never actually played this matchup out before, so we're just going to go for the close combat as I want to try to catch a foul play on Skunk Tank. And this should do a decent amount of resisted damage, and it does, so I'm going to go ahead and swap now to catch the charge move, and they will throw. Now, I don't think this is enough for a return, so I'm going to let it go, and it is actually going to be a foul play, so that's perfect. They do decide to bring in Obstagoon, which is fine as well. I'm going to go ahead and throw the Crunch, but I was going to try to go for the Flamethrower to try to force that shield, but we are barely going to survive with 1 HP in a dream right there, and we're just going to go for this Crunch. It's resisted, but hopefully we can get the debuff, and any extra damage is going to be very helpful. So we do chunk some health, and we do get the debuff. That is huge. We can bring in Heracross now and fully counter down because the Obstagoons really do not like counter, especially with that debuff. So we take it out. They decide to bring in Sableye, so I'm very curious to see what they have in the back. I will give up a shield now and fully counter down because maybe they are extremely weak to counter in the back as well. And having access to close combat is looking really good. So let's see what they decide to bring in. It's going to be Scrafty. So we're going to go ahead and throw the Rock Blast first here. I know this is resisted, but we've shown close combat, which means we're going to get a shield, and I want to try to get to another close combat. So thankfully I did. If I threw close combat first, I wouldn't have been able to make it to the next charge move. So we do force both shields. We're going to come in with Alolan Marowak here. While this may seem like the worst matchup, basically a dark type versus a ghost type, what's great is as long as I no shield the first charge move, we can get to this Fire Blast right here. The last thing I want to do is shield a power-up punch, and then they land a foul play. So that is why I no shielded the first one, and we will shield this power-up punch now, as Fire Blast here is going to do enough neutral damage to take out the Scrafty. So again, Alolan Marowak coming in clutch today for us. Boom! Takes it out, and that is going to be a good battle. Very well played. Okay, moving into the next one. we have Heracross versus Umbreon. All right, so a very positive lead matchup for us. We do see them swap into Venusaur, so we're going to go ahead and bring in the Alolan Marowak right away. Now, this matchup is a bit different compared to Fire Spin Alolan Marowak. And I play it kind of like a Fire Spin one. So we're going to go ahead and just go for Shadow Bone, do as much neutral damage as we can. I could go for Fire Blast, but I don't want them to shield as I really want, or I don't want to risk it being shielded, as I really want to keep Heracross on top of Umbreon right here. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and shield the Frenzy Plant, and this is why I said it's a bit different. I'm trying to farm down with Hex, and it's really not doing enough. I will have to give up 2 shields right here. This is very unfortunate to do. At least Alolan Marowak has a lot of energy, and at least I maintain switch advantage, but I have to give up switch advantage now if I want to realign Heracross versus Umbreon. So what we're going to do here is, because I was committed to 2 shields, I got to throw the Fire Blast and now swap into Skuntank. That way, they either stay into this matchup, which is still kind of favorable for us, or they're forced to swap out, which then allows me to realign Heracross on the back end. So we're going to go ahead and throw the Crunch. It's a Crobat in the back, and they decided to let it go, which is very unfortunate for them, because I should be able to fully farm down now with Poison Jab. So things are looking very good. Skuntank being an absolute monster in these sets, really setting us up well to sweep. And we're going to go ahead and just throw the Crunch right here. Again, it's going to be resisted, but we want to try to get that debuff if we can. We're going to get shields anyways. No debuff, though, and they do decide to throw the charge move. So as long as this Umbreon doesn't have Psychic, I think we're looking pretty good. The Foul Play does take us out. We're going to bring in the Heracross and pray that they don't have a Psychic, as Alolan Marowak will not be able to farm down with Hex. So this is where it comes down. Is it Psychic or is it not? And honestly, I don't think Psychic would one-shot anyways. And no, it's just going to be a Foul Play. So that is going to be a good battle. Very well played to my opponent. Okay, moving into this next battle here, we have Heracross on the lead versus Alolan Marowak. All right, so this is going to be tough. We got to go straight into Skuntank right now, as this is a Fire Spin Alolan Marowak. Now, what's tough for this matchup is Bone Club is going to be doing super effective damage. So what I need to do here is actually no shield. My goal is to get shield advantage, because my own Alolan Marowak can do very, very well if it does have shield advantage. So we do get the defense drop and shield advantage, but they decide to throw a Bone Club right here, which is going to come in pivotal later on, as you guys are going to see. If they would have farmed me down, I think it would have been a different story. But we're going to go ahead and come in with our own Alolan Marowak. Again, this is, I love this Pokemon so much. It is so incredibly strong, and if you don't have really good answers for it, it can sweep teams. But we're going to go ahead and shield this first one, just in case it is a Shadow Bone, but I think it's just going to be another Bone Club, which it is. They're just throwing these Bone Clubs all day long. We're going to go ahead and throw a Shadow Bone ourselves. Right here, trying to force that final shield or take it out, as we are pretty loaded on energy, and if we can get a shield as well, which we do, things are looking good. Now, this is going to be another Bone Club. I don't think they built up enough for Shadow Bone or Shadow Ball, so we're going to let that go through and then farm down, but they bring in a Azumarill. This is an uphill battle. We have an Alolan Marowak with low HP and a Heracross versus an Azumarill. Granted, they have no shields, but I think we can pull this off. Alolan Marowak, again, it may not be the highest ranked Pokemon, but my goodness, it's incredible. We're going to go ahead and swap out now into the Heracross to catch the charge moves here. We will shield as well, as it is going to be an Ice Beam. So we should be able to win the race to the Rock Blast right here. And we're just going to overload just a bit and then throw it before they can get to another Ice Beam. So this is going to be a close game. Again, Alolan Marowak on their side is relatively low. And we don't know what that third Pokemon is. It's actually going to be a Galvantula. So this is huge. Rock Blast here, going to be coming in clutch for super effective damage versus the Galvantula. But is it going to be enough to take it out? No, it's not enough. So they will be able to get to the charge move here, but they are incredibly low. Remember, we still have our Alolan Marowak with Hex. So we're going to come in. They decide to swap to their own Alolan Marowak, which allows me to farm down. And now I have a Shadow Bone ready to go to take out Galvantula, and that is going to be a good game, very well played. It was definitely looking like a huge uphill battle versus the opponent, but we were able to pull it off with the dance of energy there with Alolan Marowak, and honestly, those Rock Blasts came in clutch. All right, good game. Moving in the next one. We have Qwilfish now on the lead. So Qwilfish, a very spammy Pokemon, and can honestly do incredibly well versus my whole team if it gets too far ahead on energy. So what we're going to do here is just throw the Rock Blast right away. We do get ourselves shield advantage, which is nice, and they're looking to go for double Aqua Tails right here. I want to keep the Heracross a bit healthy just in case they have something in the back, so I'm going to swap into Skuntank to catch the second Aqua Tail. This is going to be painful, it's going to hurt, but I think it's going to be worth it as they might be switching out now, which they do, and thankfully I kept the Heracross. Look, there is a Shadow Tyranitar, I think it's Shadow, that was hiding in the back, so I'm so thankful I drew it out because Alolan Marowak absolutely does not like it. So we should be able to get off one counter right here to take out the Tyranitar, as it did have a defense drop as well. So yeah, one counter will take it out before they get a smackdown through. Huge. And we do see them bring in Qwilfish, which means they are double weak to counter in the back, so we'll have to see if we can swap out again, but we cannot. But we do land the Rock Blast this time, so we're gonna go ahead and I decide to shield right here, as again they brought in the Qwilfish, so they must be weak in the back, but I'm gonna bring in a Alolan Marowak to get ahead on energy, and sure enough, it is gonna be a Crustle in the back. So we're gonna go ahead and go for Shadow Bones now, forcing that final shield. I mean, granted, I could have stayed in with Heracross to do as much counter damage as I possibly could, but I really wanted to get ahead on energy with the Alolan Marowak, just in case it was something like an Umbreon, so we could try to land a Fire Blast. So we're going to be able to go for this the next Shadow Bone right here, but unfortunately, as you guys are seeing, the Crustle is going to be able to farm me down. So this is where the give and take of maybe I should have stayed in with Heracross would have been better. So we are going to try to counter down, but we don't get in time. So they do get the charge move, and that is going to be a good battle. Very well played to my opponent, but a decent read there on my end that they were weak. Maybe I could have shielded one Aqua Tail on Heracross, and it would have been a completely different story, but either way, good game. Alright, so we got Toxicroak now on the lead. This is going to be an interesting matchup, as obviously I don't want Toxicroak versus my backline, really. Mud Bombs are going to be pretty devastating. It doesn't do too much damage, but I know if it can load up on energy and get like one or two off, it's going to hurt. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go for close combat. This is going to be resisted, same with Rock Blast, but at least this is the same type attack bonus, and we do get a shield right there. So hopefully I can get to this Rock Blast in time. I should have clicked on close combat again. That would have been very nice right here, but they will be able to no shield it and farm me down. So we got to come in with a Alolan Marowak right here and farm down with Hex. And they threw the charge move right away, so I'm going to guess this is Mud Bomb. We'll let it go through, but it's actually a Sludge Bomb. That is a big mistake on my opponent's side, but thankfully we were able to recover. We do see the Crustle come in now, so we'll just throw the Shadow Bone right away and look to swap out into the Shadow Skuntank. Get ourselves ahead on energy and see what they have in the back. It's going to be a Frostlass right here, so again, very nice matchup for us. 2 shields to 1 shield, and we do have Crunch on our side as well. So it's going to be forcing that shield from the Frostlass, but what's important here is that we manage our energy well. Hopefully we can get to it in time, but what we need to do is not be forced to shield twice on our Skuntank right here versus the Frostlass. So we're going to overload a bit and go for Crunch now. So this is going to be perfect. We're going to be able to take out the Frostlass. Crustle in the back might just be able to farm us down. It's going to be extremely close, but we get to it in time with 1 HP in a dream. So that is going to be a good battle. Very well played to my opponent. Close one right there. Close one. All right. Moving into the next one, we have Heracross on the lead versus Scrafty. Okay, a very positive matchup for us, and we do see them swap out into Frostlass. So I decide to stay in and go for Rock Blast right here. I know I'm letting them get far ahead on energy, and I should have brought in Alolan Marowak right away. But I wanted to get a shield here and look to bring in the Alolan Marowak, because what we're going to do is we're going to be in this unique situation where I give up a shield here on the potential Shadow Ball, which it is, and now I'm technically ahead on pacing because I will force that final shield from them, and then I can overload on energy if they decide to no shield. So they actually let it go. Frostlass goes down. We do see the Scrafty come in. So again, like game 2, I believe, or game 1, We're going to no-shield the foul play here. If it is foul play, I do not want to be shielding a power-up punch, and it is the foul play. That's fine. We survive, and we're going to be able to get to this Fire Blast in time. This just does so much damage versus the Scrafty, and this is why I love running Fire Blast Alolan Marowak. Woo! That is a ton of damage. They decide to swap out into Nidoqueen, so I got to react fast and swap into our Skuntank right here. And we're gonna have to shield. This is potentially could be an Earth Power, so I decided to shield, and it was an Earth Power. That is a huge shield on my side. I will throw the Crunch right away as well. I could overload on energy, but honestly, if I get that debuff, it's gonna come in clutch, and there was no debuff there, so they should be able to take out my Skuntank, but I do get to one more Crunch in time, so this is gonna force that final shield from the opponent. Remember, they still have a Scrafty that's extremely low, not too much energy, and we still have Heracross, so they're desperately loading up on as much energy as they can because Nidoqueen is the only Pokemon that could potentially sweep for them. The Earth Power as well takes us out, and we're going to come in with Heracross right here and try to catch the charge move on Alolan Marowak. So we're going to go ahead and come in, counter, and swap and catch the charge move. This is absolutely beautiful. This is going to dump the energy of Poison Fang into the Alolan Marowak. We come back in and counter down and Scrafty as well. They decide to surrender. So good game, very well played to my opponent. And that was the final battle. So this team was pretty fun, honestly. I think Alolan Marowak, Hex, Fire Blast, Shadow Bone, you guys know how much I love this Pokemon. Skuntank as well, I think did incredibly well. I think it's very strong in this meta, and Heracross was nice to try out and has some really cool matchups and good coverage like we saw against that Alolan Ninetales, where we're able to force a shield because of Rock Blast, which gives us more room to sweep end game with Alolan Marowak. So hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and like always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.